everybody. So am I the only guy who's been in a great mood since the midterms, huh? I'd like to thank Dr. Siegel for that. But also, I'm a silver linings guy. Seriously, right now I'm wearing a thong made of pure silver. It was a Christmas gift from William Devane. Now you know what's in my safe. But it appears the Republicans will capture the House. And like I said last night, thank you. I had nothing to do with it, but I'll take it. But like I said, you keep the House, you keep the peace. So we should start thinking about all the cool we can do now that we got the place to ourselves. I first call in the exterminators to kill anything the previous tenants left behind. I especially want to fumigate Jerry Nadler's pants. I know. What's in there? So many things. Oh, if his lining could talk. But then let's get to the bottom of Hunter's laptop. Or maybe not the bottom, because who knows where that's been. Hunter's is the first laptop that had a virus that actually needed penicillin to kill. And whoever goes through that hard drive will need extra gloves, double masks, and holy water. We already know that the feds believe there was enough evidence to charge him with tax crimes and with lying about drug use when he bought a handgun in 2018. They're pretty sure he was on drugs when he did that because he filled out the gun application with a blue crayon and in Pig Latin. But with that GOP House majority, it's time to excavate the buried laptop story in all its glory. And no matter how much the media tries to ignore it, like they did the first time around, we can now force their hand to go where they don't want to go. Just like Hunter did with the whores. And the teleprompter said hookers. Teleprompter said hookers.
I saw that.
But
it's just a whole new Greg.
I'm in a really bad mood. But it's not about Hunter, but the big guy, old Joe. And if he wasn't aware of his son's dealings, that's fine. After all, sometimes he's not aware he's in the ladies' room and peeing in the sink. But who are we kidding? Joe knew what was going on. Right, Joe?
No. You can't look back. You can't look back. A wise man once said, don't look back, you might not like what you see. You know who said that? I think it was Mark Twain. Or maybe Corn Pop. One of those guys. But no, I can't look back. I don't even know what I was doing in 2019. I can't remember what I had for breakfast. But I'll tell you what I didn't have for breakfast. Malarkey.
I also would like to get to know the 51 intel agents who signed that letter saying Hunter's laptop was Russian disinfo, a claim so laughable it makes Putin shake with laughter and not just Parkinson's. I want Republicans asking the questions, no grandstanding, no overproduced like January 6th. The only thing missing from that hearing was Will Smith smacking someone in the face. But I want to know how government intel agencies could so happily lend themselves to a lie. And I want to see the emails between the tech platforms, the media, and the government agencies. I bet it's more incestuous than the royal family. What? You can look it up. I mean, I didn't, but I'm sure it's there.
Or you could just look.
You could just look. Second, a GOP house should mean cleaning house, getting rid of the incompetent hacks who treat others like crap. I'm not sure there's enough Lysol on the planet to accomplish that. But Ted Cruz already said it. It's time to impeach Mayorkas. You remember him. He's the DHS secretary who hung his own agents out to dry over Whipgate. You know, how do you say what a bitch in Spanish? This is when I wish Geraldo was here. That famous picture that supposedly showed border agents whipping migrants, Mayorkas knew it was BS, but he went on TV anyway and said they were. And the president followed suit saying those guys would pay. It sends a great message to our border agents. Sure, it's a dangerous, thankless job, but at least we'll screw you over too. In plenty of other industries, Mayorkas would have been canned. And sure, he'd never get convicted by the Senate, but so what? It would send a message that Americans aren't going to let that stuff slide. And finally, the big one. Maybe we can finally push for the truth about the origins of COVID-19. Did it come from the Wuhan lab or a dirty butter knife at the Aurora IHOP? Or was it the bong water from Kat's office? Either way, we're going to have to find out. It feels like something Biden wants us to forget about. You know, like he does with his pants when he's heading down to the Oval Office. But as the great Bill Shakespeare once said, up your ass, spinach breath. It sounded better in the King's English, but you get the meaning. According to a poll I made up in my head just now, most Americans are in agreement that someone or something should be held accountable. I don't know, maybe someone whose last name rhymes with grouchy? Or some country whose name rhymes with angina? I'm just spitballing here. But millions died, and experts lied, and no one's getting fried. Hell, we've bombed countries for less. Yet here we are coming up on 3 years later, and just like truffle fries, we still don't know where COVID came from. But we're seeing the long-term consequences all across the country, thanks also in part to Democrat-led lockdowns. And if you don't believe me, go ask a fifth grader if he knows how to do long division. He won't, which is why I fired him as my accountant. Well, that and he got hot chocolate on my W-9. Bottom line, the GOP should view Tuesday as a chance to bring accountability and sanity back to government. Also, it'll just be fun as hell to watch. And frankly, we've earned it. Let's welcome tonight's guest. He's the reason cravings are called jonesing. Host of Lawrence Jones Cross Country, on Saturday nights, Lawrence Jones. As a wrestler, he raised Cain, and as mayor, he's lowering the boom. Mayor of Knox County, Tennessee, and WWE wrestler Glenn Jacobs. She's bonier than the Museum of Natural History. Fox News contributor Kat Tim. And no one's ever given him a bad Uber rating. My massive sidekick in the NWA's World Television Champion, Tyrus. Mayor Jacobs, congratulations on being the first person to be taller than Tyrus on this show.
Thank you. I appreciate that. You know, Tyrus, Lawrence, and I were all big guys, but apparently there's only one big guy.
Yeah.
It's be interesting to see how he actually rolls, isn't it?
Yeah. You know what? I want to ask you, if you could pick the investigations, which one would be of interest to you?
I cannot wait to see Rand Paul tear into Anthony Fauci. Finally take the gloves all the way off.
Yeah.
Because as you said, you know, Mr. I am the science, he crushed any dissenting opinion, even from credible sources. The lockdowns were the worst public policy mistake this country has ever made, shredded the Constitution, destroyed our liberties, hurt people. They're talking about amnesty for COVID amnesty. What they need to be talking about is COVID accountability.
Right. A lot of C's.
Yeah, there are a lot of C's on that.
Also, they're still doing, from what I understand, they're still doing gain of function, right? The study we just covered like about a few weeks ago or something. I can't remember. I was high. But you get my point. They're still doing gain of function.
Yes.
That's crazy. Lawrence,
How you doing?
I'm good. What? Was something wrong with me?
You own one tonight.
Am I? No, I haven't had any. I got a puppy, and it's making me angry all the time. It's supposed to be the opposite, but I can't.
I love it.
It's peeing all over the place. I'm up at 6 a.m. I'm never up unless I'm coming home. Anyway.
All those kids' jokes coming back on you, Gutfeld.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Well, Lawrence? I don't know what to say anymore.
Well, I'll tell you, well, I got a lot to say.
Yes.
So, look, I agree with you. I partially agree with the monologue because you want to feel good. They did a lot of damage. They tortured a lot of people. And so human nature, you want retaliation. I mean, that's just who we are. Anybody that says that they don't want retaliation is just lying to themselves. The problem is I feel like it's not going to accomplish anything. Like, no one's going to go to jail.
Does that matter?
Yeah, I want people to go to jail, actually. I do.
Yes.
Right? All right? I'm tired of criminals just walking the street. If it's the government officials are the first ones to go to jail, then let it be.
Yeah.
But I think the Republicans are in a unique position. They got to play defense. And what I mean by defense, that is stopping the Biden administration from inflicting any more damage on people. I've never seen Democrats, Republicans, everybody's just pissed off with the damage that they're doing. So what can they do? Go after those IRS agents, all right? Immediately stop that. And the way you do it is, okay, you can hire them, but they won't get a paycheck. I guarantee you they quit, all right? So you do that. Also, the FBI agents, they're the ones that are just spying on American people, the ones that went after parents, go after them. Make sure they get no funding. They'll quit too. Yeah. So the Republicans are going to have the pen of the purse. That's how you undo these bad ideas, because everything when it comes to the liberals is they want you to fund these free ideas that they have that we have to pay for. So I think it should be about that. As much as I want to agree with you, Greg, I think the investigations need to happen, but once we actually have true power. Right now, we don't.
Get him off the show. Agree with me, Kat. Agree with me. No, who cares if there's no progress? Who cares if there are no results? It'll be fun, and we can talk about it on the show every night.
Okay. Well, I don't know why we'd have to talk about anything else when you have great jokes like that bong water one.
By the way, I didn't write that one.
Really good. Well, sure. Great job.
Sorry, I left it in your office.
No, I don't know why there's not more people who want to see COVID be investigated. It's really absurd that it's not being investigated. It's kind of like if you have that friend you go out with and they get super hammered and it's a disaster of a night, and then they hit you up like, hey, like, what are you doing this weekend?
Yeah.
And you're like, you're not going to talk about how you threw up on the dance floor? And they're like, yeah, it must have been that bat soup I ate. Like, could have happened to anyone. You're like, no, I saw you do 15 shots. I want to make sure this doesn't happen again. And if you don't know what happened, it could easily happen again. And I don't know how everyone else feels, but that really sucked for me. And I didn't even have any of the real problems. Like, I didn't die. No one I know died. I didn't have kids that I have to be at home with. So, like, for other people who had those problems, it probably was way worse.
I know people who died from it. Yeah. I know people whose lives have been permanently changed from it. And I don't even care if it's our fault, if it's America's involved. I don't care. You got to find out. Anyway, Tyrus.
Well, first of all, I said several times the first order of business is the border. America needs to be held accountable. Let's not forget that even right now, those men and women are still pending punishment. So they still have it over their head. They're going to have some fine, some suspension. So that's sitting over top of your head, not to mention, where's the apology? They have to live in their cities, they live in neighborhoods, and they have people telling them they're this, they're that. That's number one. And Kat, I think I disagree with you just a scotch, because I look at COVID like I was in a bad marriage, right? And when she left, the last thing I wanted to do would be go to therapy and talk about why it didn't work. I am so happy to be free. I don't want to see her name. I don't want to talk it. Look, it wasn't you. It was me. I'm fine with it.
Okay.
I'm going to go outside and enjoy the sun. You just be miserable. It's fine. It's me.
Okay.
It's me.
But just to clarify, it could be good for you to go to individual therapy to make sure that you don't end up in a marriage like that again.
No, because the next time I see one like that, I'll just go the other way.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Wow.
It can repeat itself.
I don't know whose side I'm on that
I'm
one.
happily married, by the way.
Oh, absolutely. Everyone here's happy. We're all happy. We're just making stuff up.
Yeah, this is none of this is real. I'm not even sure I'm here right now. This could just be a dream I've had.
The guy who's miserable he's single. He's miserable. Look how sad he is. Well rested, happy face.
He's so unattractive. That's the real problem, Lawrence. All right. That was a sarcastic, don't hurt me.
Yeah, we know black don't crack.
Yes, we do.
You people.
I don't even wear makeup.
And I mean my guests.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.